I like the idea of being more emboldened, and I think it's a nice introduction to what we introduced as new to NSSE in 2023. So there were several new developments to the survey, and this represents a commitment, first and foremost, to making the survey experience more equitable. And I'll tell you how we kind of express that through some of these questions. One is by changing and adding to our student identity questions. We already know that social identities play an important role in how students are engaged. It makes a difference. So we know that this knowing social identities is consequential to how we do analysis, how we understand our students' experiences. But what is equally important is that students see themselves in the survey questions that they're being asked. So after years of testing and years of inviting students to write in their responses to gender identity and sexual orientation and some other race ethnicity issues, we have created some new questions that are more responsive to what students are saying and describing for their identities. So you saw changes in the gender identity question, in sexual orientation, and some slight edits to better represent and reflect different student racial ethnic populations on campus today in the race ethnicity question. So those are really important questions that we like to think are really at the forward side of this ever-changing world of social identities. So really important that we did that. I hope you take advantage of them and appreciate it. We also made a new addition of zip code questions. So the fact that we're asking students to indicate their zip code gives a little bit more options for analysis, and there might be some particular ways that you can take advantage of that on your campus, and many other queries are coming in to use zip code as a way to better understand populations. We also added a question that better represented Greek life. So it's a longer question, and it's really trying to better understand the different social or service Greek letter organizations to which students belong. And another dimension that is also reflected, that reflects the student identity questions, is that we expanded the high impact practice report. And I know Bob will mention that when he goes through the reports, but we've essentially allowed now more categories for disaggregation. Again, we know high impact practices are influenced and by students' identity, and that's an important shaping experience. So knowing more about your student identities is important for that kind of work. And then finally, we also changed the way we organize the student comments report, imagining that we kind of wanted to get beyond some rather simplistic gender notions in the student comment report, and decided this year that major, given its strong influence on engagement behaviors, might be a nicer way to organize the student comments report. Of course, you always have all the data and you can organize your student comments and sort them however you like, but we thought the report might be a little bit more instructive if it featured majors and organized your student comments by majors. And when we talk about the student comment report later, you'll see why this might be a really helpful thing to provide you in a report form.